Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And as some of you know, I've spent a lot of time in hospital over the most recent holiday season, and with that time I had a lot of time to ponder and think. And if I was to put everything into one video, that would be a very long video. So I just thought I'd make a lot of smaller videos, each with their own ideas about the things that I've thought about and came up with while I was in the hospital. Things to share with you guys, and hopefully you guys can get something out of it. Now, the doctor said that if I was to show up at the hospital a day or two later than I did, I could have been gone. That could have been it. Would have been the end of me. And any person, when they're told they almost died, start thinking about things through their life. They think about the things they've done and to think about the things they haven't done. So today I want to talk about regrets, because that was one of the things that I thought about a bit while I was in hospital. Regrets. I've always tried to live my life with no regrets, essentially. And that's why I try so hard in things that I do. That's why I train so hard in martial arts. That's why I grinded so much in esports. That's why I chose the career path that I did. Because I didn't want to just do what everybody else did. I wanted to do something I like and do my best, instead of doing what everyone else did and then pondering and wondering what could have been if I actually went for something that I truly wanted. And that's one of the philosophies, I guess, on how I live my life. You know, if there's something that I want to do and I like to do, I do my absolute best in it, because I don't want to regret not doing it or wondering what would happen if I did try my best. So I do try my best, and whatever happens, happens. And those of you that know me, especially when it comes to finances, I'm a pretty disciplined person. And one of the things I've wondered is that if I was too hard on myself, if I was too disciplined maybe, is that even a thing? Can you be too disciplined? Because if you do the math, if you invest just in the total stock market with average returns, you only really need like $200 to $500 a month to become a millionaire at around retirement age, depending on what age you start. And I was doing way over that, like 4x, 5x that. And I still didn't allow myself to basically spend money on things that would make my life happier, essentially. I'm a pretty disciplined person when it comes to this. I still drive a 2016 Toyota hybrid. I eat 2-minute noodles every weekends. I still stayed in the dorm or barrack rooms. I never moved out. And after all the bills are paid, and I still have my leftovers, even though I've already hit my targets, instead of spending the leftovers and treating myself, I put the leftovers back into the savings, more into investments. And when I was lying in that hospital bed, I was just thinking about the things that I could have done that I haven't done. Because savings, I didn't think about until like 2, 3 days later. It was one of the last things on my mind. I didn't care about that. What good was that when I was lying in the bed, not being able to move and get up, like the first 2 days? Just thinking about the things I could have done. You know, I traveled the world, the sights I could have seen, the experiences I could have had, the food I could have tasted, the people I could have met. Like, for example, I could have went on a cruise. I've always wanted to go on a cruise. Never been on a cruise before. And I have enough money to do it. Wouldn't be a problem at all. But I didn't. Because I just didn't allow myself to. I was too disciplined. I was too focused on the future instead of the now. The memories I never had. And when people pointed that out to me, my excuse was that I found it boring just to travel by myself. I found it pointless to just go around by myself without showing anyone and spending time with anyone I care about. That was my excuse. And now I realized that's all it was. It was an excuse. Because right now, that's one of the things I really want to do, is I just don't care. I just want to go by myself and experience some of the things that I never had. Just by myself. Food is another big one. Yeah, because of my illness and my need of treatments pretty regularly. Obviously I can't go on the cruise, and of course now I'm on a very restrictive food diet. Any interesting food you guys can think of, there's some form of restriction to it. Whether I can't have it at all, or I can only have it like a couple times a week, etc. Or like a few servings, or 1 or 2 servings a day. Everything's got some restrictions on it. And a lot of it is to do with, my body not being able to process and handle things, and I have a weak stomach right now. But the painful thing that I have to deal with is the food that I grew up on, my comfort foods. I actually can't have any of it. Any food that I grew up on, gone, out of the picture. And that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough. Luckily, I am, I do have a culinary experience, so I can at least, mitigate that, but it is pretty rough. And yeah, one of the regrets was I didn't treat myself to enough food that I wanted. When I wanted KFC, let's say, I didn't buy myself KFC. When I wanted to eat out, I didn't allow myself to eat out. I forced myself to stay in and eat 2-minute noodles. When I wanted to just go out and have something that's a bit over the price range, even though I haven't been eating out for 2 weeks, and I see one of my favorite dishes, but it's like $40, $50, I still wouldn't get it. Even though it's completely reasonable to, I didn't allow myself to. And I regret that. There's the idea of a last meal. Of course, the idea came from death row, where if you're put on a death penalty the day before you get executed, you're allowed to request whatever food you want as your last meal. So you can at least enjoy your last moments of food consumption. And when you think about it, a lot of people's last meals are horrible because a lot of people's last meals are some tasteless liquid stuff fed through a tube in a hospital bed. That's horrible. Some people, their last meal, they're not even conscious, they're not even aware. And I started thinking about my last meal and what I would have. And all these foods, there's a list in my head. Everything from the comfort foods I grew up with, you know, the Cantonese roasts, the Chinese stir fries, the Szechuan spicy dishes, to KFCs, to the Korean barbecues, to sushi, you know, to fish and chips. To a nice steak, a nice surf and turf. All of this stuff, that's not even it. There's so much more I could have listed. It would have gone for the whole video, but all of that stuff I can't have right now. And I can't for a very long time. Hopefully it's not permanent. It's likely not permanent, but it will be for a very long time. I can't have that. And thankfully I am in a somewhat fortunate enough situation for it to be not permanent. But if the situation got worse, it could have very well be permanent. I could have very well not been able to have my last meal ever again. And I just thought, I should have allowed myself to enjoy stuff while I could have. Just the idea of having my last meal just spread out on a nice big table in front of me and just enjoying it in my own time. Maybe I was too hard on myself. Maybe I was holding back too much. And I was thinking too much about the future. So what's the point of all this? The point of all this is that, first of all, you never know when something's going to happen to you, because what happened to me, nobody could have seen it coming. Not myself, not my family, not my brothers, not the people I work with, not the friends I hang out with, nobody. And you also never know that what happens to you will stop you from doing whatever that you can do now. Like, you don't know what will stop you from doing. And the second is, because of that, you know, enjoy now. You don't have to wait for the last meal, you know. Have your last meal now. If you want to eat KFC, buy a bucket for $80 and you're already saving, and you already saved enough for the week. Fuck it. Enjoy. Don't be like what I did and still stop myself from doing it, you know. Obviously be responsible, still have your goals and still have an emergency fund and etc., but don't be as strict as I was. Some people I know, they looked up to how strict I was on myself, but I don't think that was the right thing to do anymore. I think I was too strict. So as long as you hit whatever reasonable goals you set yourself, enjoy what's left. because you never know what might happen. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. Treat yourself. Enjoy life. And yeah, stay tuned. I'll be putting out more videos. Thought about a lot more things while I was in hospital. Subscribe for when the videos come out. And if you want to hang out with me in real time and watch me play games and come talk to me in the chat and talk to me in real time, go subscribe to my gaming channel. I'll be streaming most evenings. And with that, I'll see you guys on the next video.